Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I got another good topic for you today. Recently, over the past week, it was discovered that Benzino, who was he used to be a rapper and used to be publisher of a Source magazine. He's actually working or finishing up a documentary about the 1995 Source Awards between Death Row Records, and the controversy between Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records. And I think it's just going to be an interesting documentary because, like I said, a lot of the younger generation, and even I was only around like 7 or 8 years old when not documentary, but when that award show actually occurred. So I remember the statements from it. The Suge Knight's famous line, "If you don't want your producer all in the videos," uh, you know, that comment that he had. Um, so I remember that stuff, but I don't remember the events specifically. So that's what I look for the most when it comes to that. Um, he kind of Benzino talked about how the documentary kind of shows how hip hop was changed forever that night, and the events that led to it. That events from that night kind of people believe kind of be a catalyst for the death of Tupac and Biggie, which those losses in hip hop definitely changed hip hop forever. Because when you think about it, they were the two biggest hip artists at the time, biggest artists of hip hop or artists period at the time. And to lose those artists still has effects today, I believe. So that documentary, I look forward to seeing that documentary. He didn't say who picked up the documentary or when it will air or where it will air, or if he's still trying to sell it to a network or some kind of app or something. But I look forward to hearing or seeing that documentary and learning more about the events that occurred on that night and how the long effects of it as a result of the occurrence of that night. And it's very good timing for this documentary just because the stuff that's going on with Diddy right now, and Suge Knight has a podcast out of prison right now, so everything is lining up to have a perfect timing because he won't probably have any more that much engagement as he will that night because, well, around this time he'll probably garner the most views because, like I said, between all the Diddy drama and all the Suge Knight having his podcast out, and Suge Knight is gonna have his own spin on what happened that night, and Diddy, probably won't hear from him as much, but um, yeah, it's just gonna be very interesting. So I'm wondering how will the documentary show how hip hop was changed forever. Like I said, it was a lot of drama, even with South artists, Outkast, Andre 3000 came up there and said, the South got something to say, and most people didn't relate to South artists or West artists, and it was in the East Coast at the time. The award show, the Source Awards, was filmed, so it was a lot of controversy and a lot of booing for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg spoke as well, and uh, Puffy and P Diddy, was Puff Daddy at the time, but him and Biggie was at the award show, and Tupac was there. It was a lot going on in '95 around that time, and less than 2 years, both Tupac and Biggie were dead after that event that night. So it's a very probably sensitive topic for some people, especially those involved that night. So um, thoughts and prayers out to people who lost loved ones and stuff like that, especially after the events that night. Like I said, it was a lot of turmoil and a lot of animosity for each other. And it's kind of weird because people kind of talked about how P. Diddy and Suge Knight had a very good relationship prior to the events that night. But for some reason, everything went sour. It was probably just a result of the Biggie and Tupac beef, and how a lot of people blame the magazines for exacerbating the situation because they were trying to sell magazines, so they made the situation worse by kept broadcasting the beef, and just highlighting the lyrics and highlighting the behind the scenes stories and kind of putting light on rumors and stuff like that. So a lot of people blame the magazines for it, and the record labels. Like I said, the record labels were profiting a lot off of the East Coast West Coast beef, and that's what the whole drama was over. Like I said, the South and Midwest really didn't have a voice back then. Outkast won a bunch of awards, and people were like, "How we don't understand the music?" And even I think Benzino kind of admitted to not understanding like Outkast and things like that. But it wasn't until they put out the double disc with Hey Ya on it when people started to understand the music and they crossed over. But like I said, they had music all the way to the early '90s, and they had live instrumentation, and their production was top notch, and their lyrics were just on point. And they even talked about how jogged. They jogged and recited their lyrics to have the stamina to be able to perform in front of people and perform and being able to keep their breath still. So, like I said, there was a lot going into the East Coast West Coast beef and a bunch of different components to it, and it was more sophisticated than most people realized. So I'm excited for this documentary to finally come out, and when it does, I'll bring more commentary on it to my afterthoughts and my reviews of it. Um, yeah, um, tell me your thoughts about just what you know about the East Coast West Coast beef and the Source Awards that night, and the stories that you've heard, and what do you look forward to most? Uh, you look forward most when it comes to this documentary. All right. Well, I'll see you next time.